Alrighty, how we doing? It is Thursday, December 9th. It is like, I don't know, actually, technically we'll call this the 8th. Yeah, we'll call it the 8th because it's actually past midnight, and now it's the 9th. Anyway, I had a hockey game. I was gonna come here earlier today. Didn't end up happening, very busy. Had a hockey game, came here after, gonna sleep here. We're working. Here is kind of like the lay of the land here. I think I've definitely already shown this beautiful floor. Oh my God, it's luxurious in here. Hallway's done, it's been done. Got in here today and this is where I started. It was right on this piece here. So I kind of moved some stuff and then I prepped the floor here and then I put our underlayment down. This was actually a really great piece here. That's like a full board, so it starts, over here, goes to the wall, and it is like, I cut it, and it was amazing. The first cut basically went, it was perfect, which is rare because I don't normally measure perfectly the first time, but I cut it, and then this was kind of a tough one because you can see that it has the female end facing. I don't know, whatever this end is. It might be male. I don't know, but it's facing this way, right? And on this board, the seam is right about here. So there was a lot of board that needed to go under, and I did it on both sides. I've just been doing this probably the tough way and not doing like a board in the middle and then doing another one in these door jambs, but it's working out for me. What I did was there was a little trick, and I wish I would have shown it, but basically where I made the cuts to go underneath the door jamb, it wasn't going in as I was sliding it in. It wasn't really going over that lip here. You can kind of like think of it like this. I'll show you because I'm definitely not taking that out. It's kind of like this situation, right? And I was butting up against it and it was kind of lower. So like it would get to this point right about here and it wouldn't go in. It's because like I couldn't, get it to, I couldn't do this with the board, what you're supposed to do. I couldn't tilt it up because it was underneath both of the door hinges there, right? So what I did was right at where it goes under right here, I cut the little bit of the tongue. Now, it's really cut like right about here-ish, and there's like that much board under there, but just at the top, I cut off like this little piece. So like imagine like just cutting off like just that much of it right there, just like a little corner. That's what I did on both sides of that, and then I eventually was able to kind of like pull it up from that side a little bit and slide it in. The point of me saying that was that, at least in my experience with this floor, it's really not hard to get together. I've said that multiple times, but around like door jambs and shit, like if you want to do it, I guess well, and you want it to make it look good, and you want to try to avoid using glue as much, you can do whatever you want. You could use glue, it's not gonna matter. But I went out and bought the glue, and then I was like, well, I could probably make this work a lot more ways if I just don't use the glue. Like, the point is that I haven't used the glue yet, and it's all looking very good. So if you do this, you might have to finagle a couple pieces to kind of get them to go in. But if you're patient with it and you don't like force it and break the locking system, it's gonna look great because it is so fulfilling when that thing just like slides in and locks in on these tough pieces. It's awesome. So yeah, that's where we're at. And then I just threw down the next little piece here. Now this is gonna be interesting, and this is the reason I turned on the camera here. So you can obviously, kind of see here, if I slide this one over and I try to go underneath into this closet, this is not gonna work. It's not gonna work. There's not enough clearance underneath these like little sliding door things. And actually now that I'm looking at it, maybe I can adjust them without like planing them on the bottom, but I still have no idea what I do about this little piece other than maybe like screwing it into the thing. So what my plan was, I figured I would have to take these off regardless. So the back door so far, I just did that. I took off like half of this little piece that was down here. There's a couple pieces of hardware over here. And this is the door. It's just chilling back here. I took off these. Now I'm looking at this and I'm wondering if there's any way I could raise it up. I don't know. But it'd probably be better to like plane it up here if I have to cut any of it off, but I'm just not sure how and when we're gonna do that. But regardless though, I'm gonna have to put floor in this. I'm gonna have to put flooring in here. So what I figured I would do is just take doors off, because it's not gonna work under there currently. I'll take the doors off, I'll just set them in there. I'll maybe do like, you know, a row or two into the closet or whatever, and I'll finish those later. But I really, really, really want to get, if I get the rest of that door off tonight, and I could get one, it's probably only gonna be like one, and then maybe 2.5, maybe like 2.5 more pieces, I would say, just ballparking this, to get the rest of this first row laid. If I could do that, and then I mean, honestly, the rest of it literally is just laying down boards, so maybe I could do a lot more. But if I can get that first row laid here in this room and then come back and hit it tomorrow, I honestly feel like I could finish this room, other than maybe like that closet weird detail, obviously. And then over there is honestly really easy. The rest of the room is straight for the most part, although I will say this, I'm pretty sure the wall is crooked, because you can kind of see down here, like, at least based on the way that I have laid this plank up to this point, there's definitely like more room at the beginning of this plank than there is at the end. So it'll be interesting. I'll probably just like kind of stagger them down the thing, but we're not trying to be perfect. We're just trying to get it good enough. But that is my plan. I'm gonna get back to work so I don't have to stay up all night to do this. But yeah, I'm gonna get this door taken off of here. I'm gonna put a little bit more underlayment probably into the the closet there, and then we are gonna finish this first row off. So let's get to work. Alrighty, today is December 9th, and I slept here, woke up, got straight to work, and I want to show you a couple things. I made a little bit of progress, and we're about to make a whole hell of a lot of progress, but I do want to take this opportunity to show like more of a visualization about what I've talked about in the past episodes. When I was referring to this vinyl flooring. Now, I'm no expert whatsoever. Just watched a lot of YouTube videos, and I've just been getting experience from laying a room, a hallway, and now into another room so far. This is what I'm about to show you on this little strip that I've done here is the reason that planning is so important. And this is actually kind of a mistake I made. It's not like a dire mistake, but this is why planning is so important. So let me show you. And actually, let me start back over here where all this crap is still. If you remember from past episodes, if you've been following along, probably like a month or a month and a half ago, like right after we got the floor, I tried to lay just some flooring and kind of start doing some stuff because this room was empty, and initially we thought we were gonna start over here, but we ended up starting over there. You know the drill. Okay. But when I did this, I remember now, but I didn't remember like, you know, and I don't know, like last night, let's say, I remembered that the width of this room here where the planks are being laid is just over 3 boards in length. And the boards are about 4 feet. So it's like, you know, 4, 4, 4, and then like a little bit, like a sliver on the end. Now, when I was really into the whole like, you know, researching the vinyl and the planning and everything, and I was laying that floor there, that test piece, that, you know, those test strips, I was like, okay, I can never put a full board down to start a row because I'm gonna have this little bit of piece left. I have to cut the first row, you know, just to make it, because you're not supposed to have like real thin pieces like that. Okay, so anyway, I get through the hallway, you know, and I start that into this room last night, and I don't remember that. So let me show you what has happened. Again, not terrible, it's not really bad if you just don't make this a habit, but let me show you why it's so important to plan. This piece in this doorway right here, this is a, you know, smaller piece, but the row right above it here, from the wall there over to right here, that is a full board. And that is now in this room, like this width of the room, right? So the problem is that I have a full board there, and then I put in this full board underneath the, you know, the closet thing there and everything. I mentioned that last night. And that full board goes to right about here. And then I put in another full board, and you can see the little bit of an issue here. You really don't want this. I'm not saying you can't ever have this, and I'm not concerned about this whatsoever because I have let me explain to you. Okay, so I'm gonna pop that in. I'll hit it with a hammer or whatever, and it'll be fine because I'm gonna make sure that everything around it is good, and that little piece is not gonna be that big of a deal by my estimation. And we'll be fine, we'll move forward through this. But let me explain to you that the only way to change that and make that a longer piece right there, which just so happens to be like a very, very small piece because it's not like full in width either, the whole width of the board. The only way to fix that would be to remove this piece that I put in here and was a pain in the ass to get in there. Would be to remove it. Basically probably waste that piece, obviously, and then get a new board, cut it to a smaller length like this, and then put that in that doorway, and then you'd have you'd have a piece like maybe like this long or something like that from there to the wall, and then you'd start another piece, and then obviously you'd gain the length that you cut off. That's kind of how that idea works. But I just wanted to show you that because I just realized that myself this morning. And again, it's in the corner of the room. I'm really not concerned about it at all, but it is a piece that's like not only it's super small in length, but it's also super small in width. So sometimes I think you're gonna have to do that, especially if you don't like really meticulously plan. And I just kind of forgot that. But again though, the way that I'm going to proceed now is that every single new row, and now we're gonna fly here because we don't need to use any more jigsaw cuts. We can just use the old laminate cutter thing and just rip through some of these. Now that we got that edge done, is I am not ever in the rest of the starts of these boards here, I'm not going to start with a full board, because if I started with a full board, I would have that same problem, albeit it would be, the width would be full, but it would still be very small in length there. So every single one from now on, I'm gonna cut a board to like a third or something, and then I'm gonna lay full boards until I get to the end, and then do something like that. I'm gonna honestly take that board out because you're supposed to work from left to right. It's just easier that way. So I don't know. The point is that you can kind of finesse some of this stuff. Meaning like if I have that board over there, I could technically try to like measure backwards and then install so I don't so I use that piece, which is something maybe I'll do. But the point is that if you have a room like this where like you're laying full planks and it's giving you like a very little sliver, you can't do that because it's just not gonna work. You're gonna have that like every 4 rows or whenever you put that full plank in, and it's just not gonna be good. So that is an illustration of my small mistake there. Please don't do that if you're watching this and thinking about laying vinyl flooring. But again, it's not the end of the world if it's just like one little piece. So I'm gonna do that, maybe get in the closet and kind of do that piece or whatever. But yeah, let's get to work because I wanna finish this room today. That would be a big, huge accomplishment. All right, I figured I'd give another quick update here, just to kind of show what we've been doing, maybe a couple more tips or something. I don't know, the biggest tip I can give you is make sure that you don't have any shit in the room that you are trying to lay this floor in, because now I have to move all this stuff and get it out of here. But obviously this has been the entire time. We haven't just been laying floor, we've been doing other things. But, so a couple things actually while I'm walking over this slight squeakiness. I probably have said this already, but I do believe that this floor with an underpad like this kind of does soften the steps slightly. Because if I walk out here and try to stay silent, I don't know if you could hear that, but you could definitely still hear squeaks a little bit in places, but they're definitely less. And admittedly, they could have been way less if I would have actually taken the time to really find where the squeaks were, find the joists and put some screws through it, because that's the problem, is that this, like an old house like this, just has nails. And then like when over time you step like in between the joists and the nails like start to kind of come up and just make that noise there. You wouldn't have that with like a new house with like glued and screwed subfloor or whatever. But, we can't be perfect. So I did put a couple screws in it. It definitely out there too was way squeakier. So I'm not mad about it. But if I do see like a place as I'm doing it, I just have to make sure that I catch it. Like in this spot would be a good place. Like try to figure out what I could do here before I lay the underlayment, because then I have to take it back up and just a pain in the ass. But maybe I'll try to do something here with it. You can actually see it over here. Those screws right there, and like where my mid-room mark is, I tried to screw in here and make this a little less squeaky. And I think maybe it slightly works, but you just gotta kind of know where to screw. But yeah, I might try to do a little bit of that. I laid a little bit more of the floor there. We're cooking. My big thing was I wanted to save those planks, obviously, that were tested out over there, so I pulled them all up. Be careful if you're gonna do that. If you have to ever pull this plank up, like try to really like, I don't know, just try to like do it the exact opposite of the way you put it in. So, you know, like when you have one like this, you kind of throw in the other side. This is a bad example, this is not a terrible example, but like you have a board like this and you put it in like this. Try to like do it the exact opposite, because like you will break these things. These little, you know, this little lip here. Because I've slightly kind of broken a couple on some of the ones that I pulled up. Not the end of the world unless you rip like more than half of the thing off, but I did have to waste at least a little bit. But I think as far as waste goes, we've been doing pretty good. But as far as moving forward here, I gotta move some of this shit. I gotta break open some more of these boxes, and I have to kind of just, you know, finish the rows here. We will finish this room today, no doubt about it. I have until like 5 o'clock, and all I really have to do is just make more goddamn room, and then we should be good to go. I might even try to go in here and try to finish this office, or not the office, the closet here. It's actually a really interesting look to this. I want to go over here and get a different look. This is actually really cool. Looks a little interesting on camera, but we could even do something different probably with the doors. But I don't know, just something weird. I like that doorway there. It's like very open. I don't know, maybe like louver doors. I don't know, we'll see. Main thing is we need the floor in there, obviously, so I had to take that stuff off anyway. But all right, I'm gonna get back to work here, and we're gonna smash the rest of this floor out, move some of this stuff, and it's gonna be looking good. All right, time for another update here. It is 10 to 2, just about 2 o'clock here. I'm gonna show you what I got. We have all of this, you know, a couple strips lined up. It's really not that much more than I think the last time, but oh, that is a nice shot right there. Woo, look at that. This place is gonna look great. But anyway, so we got that, and then we're gonna tackle this. We didn't do it in the closet yet. We're gonna tackle this, and it was just honestly like so much of the time consumption is just like kind of moving shit around. A couple tips more things that I kind of ran into is be very careful when you are hammering these like cross joints or whatever, these ones in, because I've broken a couple of the things off. You just got to be careful with that. You're probably not supposed to use painter's tape to put this down, but I don't really care. That's what we're doing. And yeah, I mean, now that I have all the underlayment down in this room, it should be a breeze for these next ones. But that's what I said last time. But it just takes time to move shit around and, you know, kind of make sure everything's clean. And yeah, but it's 2 o'clock. I probably need to end this job around roughly 5:15, somewhere between 5 and 5:30. So I think I can definitely get it done. We'll see if we can get the closet done too, but yeah, so that's where we're at. It's looking great. Very excited. All right, about 5 o'clock. So I gotta wrap up here relatively soon, but this is where we're at. We got pretty much the whole room finished here, not in the closet, because I wanted to do all this stuff. And you know, surprisingly, even when you're not like cutting, so I should probably make like a whole quick like 5-minute video on this. Maybe I will, just because I've learned a lot about this, but there's a lot of videos out there already. I've linked to some of them in other vlogs here. But look, if you're gonna do this in a big area, you have to have certain things. Like if I didn't purchase this thing right here, this job would have been so much shittier, because then like the easiest part of the job, just cutting the boards to length, you know, like right in the middle here, you know, you have to, like these edge boards, just cutting these to length, then that now becomes even more of a pain in the ass, because you got to score it and try to snap it or whatever the hell else you want to do. And also, one more thing. I've seen a lot of people talk about vinyl plank online, obviously, right? I've watched a lot of videos. This stuff, this life proof is fucking thick. Like it is thick and sturdy. This is a 4-foot board. This is a 4-foot board, and like it's heavy. First of all, it's heavy, and it doesn't really bend that much. That's terrible camera work, but it doesn't bend a lot. If you get, I think it's called Home Decorators, that brand at Home Depot, it's like in the $2 range. I think there may even be stuff in the $1 range. That shit is very flimsy. And like, I'm not saying it's not good flooring, I can't really speak to it, but this is the only flooring I've ever dealt with. And all I'm saying is I've tried to score it and snap it, and it's a pain in the ass, especially when you're dealing with small pieces. This tool over here, I'll link it in the description. Absolutely amazing, well worth the investment. That setup right there and an extra blade was like $170 or something like that. And I don't like buying tools just for like one job, like one time through. But I mean, we had to do this entire room over here. We had to do this hallway. I have to do this room. I have to do this entire living room, potentially kitchen at one point, you know, and maybe like, I don't even know what's downstairs, you know, so I don't, it's just invest in the right tools to make your life easier. Because this already isn't it's not a hard job, but there's a lot of things that people don't tell you that can make shit more difficult. So I wanted to update you on that, but to parlay off of that point, I wanted to talk about like this down here, right? So there's like a board, and this is the last row here, and this is a radiator. In a normal house, you wouldn't have to deal with this if you didn't have boiler heat, but obviously here we are. So like down here, right, there's a pipe that goes into the ground, if you can see that right there. And I had to like notch that out. That's not hard to do with like a jigsaw or whatever. But the other thing is like all along that wall, and I might have had to do, you might have to do this if you have like just even a wall, but I had to cut a little bit of the board off because like I want to make sure it sits in there, like not on this metal or whatever. So I cut this and I'm like, okay, cool. So I cut it back just like a little bit. You know, if you were using this as an example, maybe I just cut this off. I was going to use a circular saw. I tried it on a test board. I'm like, this is just scary. There's shit going everywhere. So I just did a jigsaw, and that's a pain in the ass to jigsaw down the whole thing, but whatever. Small little tip, because I'm just putting all this through here, and this is the thing that reason that I turned on the camera, secondary reason that I turned on the camera is I kind of made a mistake here. It's not really a big mistake by any means, again, but it's like it was a stupid error. We talked about in other videos, like working forwards and backwards and all that, and you want to like work from left to right, and you want to work, you know, laying the planks down, and this is how I moved across this thing, right? I moved in, but once I got here, I tried to move from left to right, and you know, you're putting the boards down with this piece laying out, and then you click the other piece in, you know, you got the drill. Well, on this last one, for some reason, I think because I couldn't be on the other side of it, you know, I was just looking at it on this side, I was like, I'm gonna do this piece first, and then I sat it down, and I'm like, shit. So I'm technically like I'm forcing myself to kind of work backwards on this row, if that makes sense, because like there's no lip here. I have to stick the next board under. Again, not the end of the world, and I've done it kind of like on the other stuff too. But yeah, I could make like a short video about this. But yeah, so we're almost done here. I don't know if I'm gonna get these last couple pieces in because I do have to kind of get ready to go, but this is a huge accomplishment for today. I'm very happy about it. Furniture is coming. Today's Thursday. Furniture is coming on Tuesday. So we will see if I make the deadline of finishing. I'm not worried about, you know, the closet can be done whenever. This little transition thing, this whatever in here, none of that's like super hard, just meticulous. But if I can get all this stuff out of here and I can work in this room, the trouble is like me and my dad are gonna make somewhat of a mess here probably on Saturday with a couple of things we're doing. So there's a good chance that like I'm gonna have to try to do all of that. I might have to try to do all of that in like Sunday and then Monday. I can do it. I did it here in one day. I can do it. So, all right, I gotta go, but we're moving. Alrighty, today is Friday, December 10th. I worked at the restaurant earlier today. Came here, we got a lot of stuff to do. It's crunch time with a lot of these things. Try and get the living room completed. We'll talk about that in a little bit, but before we get to that, before we work on that today, I was in here because I want to finish this floor in the bedroom here, this last little strip. So I made that long cut of that one board that I need. It's looking fantastic. It's all slid under there. It all works. I might have to do something with that little piece of the radiator there, obviously, to put that back on and everything. But besides that, it's all fit in there. It's all great. It's all clicked in. Now, this is a big tip, I think, actually, because like I didn't know how to handle this situation. So let me show you
my MacGyvered method here. There's a seam right here. You can kind of see right there, back where it's like lifted up a little bit. Now, the way that I put it in is I lay it down on the long edge, and then I put it down in, and I just kind of mallet in this type of stuff, right? So, to give you an example, I'll be doing something like this, but I can't really get this, this radiator's in the way, so I can't really hammer back there. So I was like, how am I gonna do this? Now, there's probably a better way to do this, but let me try to set up this camera and show you sort of just the little way here that I, kind of decided that I was gonna do this, and it actually worked on the first one, so let's see if it works again. So in order to get back here where like this little, crease is still, I actually didn't use the rubber mallet at all. What I did was I'm taking a regular hammer, and I'll do a demonstration here. A regular hammer, and then I have this little tool, which I've been using to kind of like pry stuff with, like pry sort of the edges of for the walls. Like occasionally I'll have to pull some of the boards a little bit, This is like a pull. You could definitely get something like this, and honestly, I think there is a tool specifically. It's called like a pull bar. It's kind of like this on one end, and then it's curved up on the other end like this, so you could like hit it with a mallet this way and pull stuff. But this is working fine, and I'm borrowing this, so this is fine. But what I decided to do was I couldn't get that straight down approach. So if I put this like this, and then I hammer, this is kind of a bad angle, but like basically, I'm just gonna hammer at the top of this. But I was like, well, I just want to make sure that I don't screw up the floor at all. So I wrapped it in just like a towel. I'll probably wrap it in anything. And then I put it right here, and I tried to hammer towards the way that I kind of want it to slide in, obviously. And then, so I put this here, and then I grabbed my hammer, and I just went, and that probably did a little bit. And then you kind of just check it, just so I don't screw up the radiator. And a little bit more there, maybe towards the back. So, yeah, I mean, it works pretty well. Give that a shot if you have this same problem.
All right, little update here. We got Mando in the hood. Hello, Taylor Gang. Just kidding, Taylor Swift, not Taylor Gang. I finished this. We finished the last piece there, last row, went in beautifully. Obviously got to put the cover back on there and all that. I finished over here, this beautiful thing. This is absolutely gorgeous. Let's get a good shot here. Look at that. Hi, Amanda. Look at this floor. Holy shit. Actually amazing. Very excited. Let me go in here for a real quick second, just to kind of document this. My uncle, Gino, came and he worked on some of this stuff, just kind of like, oh fuck, I put that right on that. Oops. That's fine. That'll be fine. But anyway, my uncle Gino kind of did that. Like he kind of patched that up, did some mudding work there. We got to put the swirls back on and then touch up that paint. And then we got our big hole over here that he also took care of. And then on the bottom there as well, the hole that we made, little access hole, all of that. And then also on this wall over here, we had all these like adhesive marks, and I kind of like sanded them, or like I planed them and kind of put a little bit of a coat on them with some stuff. And then he hit it with some mud there. So same thing, just got to go through all that here soon. Try to somewhat match the swirls or whatever, and then paint it up, and it'll be sick. Amanda and I have a couple projects. I started in the linen closet here. I got to finish that in a second. The flooring, Amanda's going to paint some quarter round because this room is complete for the most part. I mean, there are some things that we kind of saw that we want to touch up a little bit, but in this room, like 98% there. So what we're going to do, this is our bedroom, but the bed is over here. We're going to move that bed over to here. Hopefully it's easy. Let's get it done.